How can you exercise if you have health problems?
Today, we talk to Christine Hales, a fitness specialist and owner of Start Moving Fitness. Her focus is on fitness programs to help people stay fit as they age.
As a health coach and a wellness coach, we ask the questions so you get the answers. Let's get started as we ask.
Wait, what?
Hey, Leah.
I don't like fitness. This is going to be
Oh no!
a very vulnerable episode. I'm going to be telling you guys.
Maybe Christine will give you ideas of how to start liking fitness.
Maybe. Because this is a totally side note, but where did we go this weekend? Anyway, we went to Zalays in the Valley to get dinner on Father's Day and stuff. And as we're driving through the beautiful national park, all I could think about was I have absolutely zero desire to walk and hike and go through any of these trails.
Really?
Like, it doesn't sound fun or relaxing to me. And that's what everybody says. Get outside and you'll love it. I don't.
You don't have to.
I know.
Well, Christine will tell us.
I feel like something's wrong with me. Anyway, we're making this about me and it's not. Anyway,
It's always about us.
Yes. Tell us who we're
I'll
talking
just
to.
listen.
Well, welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much for having me today.
You're
My
welcome.
pleasure to be here.
We are excited to talk to you. So Christine has been in the fitness industry for over 25 years. She founded Start Moving Fitness, an in-home personal training business that serves clients in Solon, Ohio, and surrounding communities. Christine specializes in developing functional and corrective exercise programs for ages 50 plus to help clients increase strength, improve daily activities, balance and mobility, and to prevent injuries. She is an advocate for women's health and fitness and also specializes in training those with Parkinson's disease. Her mission is to educate, inspire, and empower clients to lead a healthy lifestyle that includes exercise and healthy nutrition. Christine holds a Master's of Arts from Boston College and a BS from SUNY Binghamton.
It's SUNY Binghamton,
SUNY Binghamton.
State University of New York, which is now
I'm
Binghamton.
so glad you had to read the bio this week because I would have botched that up worse than you.
The following is just so impressive. You also hold the following fitness certifications: ACE certified personal trainer, ACE certified senior fitness specialist, biomechanics method corrective exercise specialist, Total Healthworks Parkinson's instructor certification, a yoga reach mindful movement for Parkinson's disease, and Parkinson's cycling coach. Holy cow.
What?
That
I
is
didn't even
so
know
impressive.
there were so many specialties. Do you know what I'm saying? Like within the Parkinson's realm and all of the other like certifications that you could possibly get. Like
Yeah.
that's impressive.
Over the years. I've been in it a long time. And so over the years, I've kind of narrowed my focus in what I like to specialize in and how I like to train. So education is everything.
Wow.
So can you talk about that a little bit? How did you find your focus?
Well, when I started training, I've been teaching for over 30 years, and I started that in college. But I've been training since 2006, maybe.
Wait, when you say teaching, you mean like teaching people how to exercise?
I teach group fitness as well. I
Okay.
started with group fitness,
Okay.
and then I started getting into personal training after I had children, and it's kind of my second career. But it kind of started with my own age. I was in my 40s when I started training.
Okay.
And so it has just kind of organically grown in my specialty because I've aged, and I really enjoy seeing people move better, have less pain, function better in life. As much as some of us don't like to exercise, it's really about your independence and maintaining your muscle mass and maintaining the things that you want to do. So I've enjoyed seeing that over the years. And the Parkinson's is specific to, I had a client that had a tremor, and I had asked him to get it checked out, and he did. In one visit, he had Parkinson's.
Oh my gosh.
So I knew of a center here locally, Beechwood, in Motion. And so I said, you should check it out. And he didn't want to go. So I went with his wife on a tour, and I loved it and was looking just to volunteer. And then a couple months later, I was actually doing some coaching there. Now I coach there as well. So my senior and Parkinson's have just kind of progressed over the years. And
Okay. My
So,
first question,
no, yeah, go ahead.
and this is a silly question, but I feel stupid asking it, but like,
Not at all.
what does a tremor look like? Like, how did you said you noticed it? Like, did he not notice it?
He did. It
Okay.
was an obvious, it's a common tremor they get like in the hand that was
Oh, okay. So
shaking.
it's just it's
It was a
for lack of
tremor in
better
the
terms,
hand.
just a little shaky.
Yes, and Parkinson's clients present in all different ways. It's a neurodegenerative disease. It affects their motor, it affects their movement patterns, and it affects their cognition.
Okay. Okay.
So that was one common presentation that he had that I suggested he get checked out, and he did.
I want to back up a little bit because I
Okay.
think we can dive into this right away. But I want to know, you said you started training yourself at 40. Can
In
you
my
talk?
40s.
Yeah, what in your 40s? When can you talk about that a little bit?
So my first career was higher education, and I did that for many years until I had children. Once I had kids, I wanted something part-time that I could do maybe while they were in preschool or school and still have them come home and be home for them when they got home from school. So I got my personal training certification and started training at the local Solon Rec Center. And I trained there for many years, and I had primarily women at that point coming to me,
Mhm.
either stay-at-home moms or people that were retired and could work out in the middle of the day. And it just kind of progressed from there. And my desire to continue with the senior population, it stems from, hey, I am now able to, I had a client who had a lot of health issues a couple years back, and it was very rewarding to me to hear her say, I can now get out of my bathtub without calling my husband.
Oh, wow.
That's such
So
a good
it's,
feeling.
functional meaning activities of daily life. Okay. And so when I say functional activities, they are exercises that we go through in real life, and they are
Mhm.
movements of the body: push, pull, rotate, squat, lunge, bend or hip hinge, and your gait, which is either walking or running. So it's adding exercises in that will help you do all of those things in life, whether it's picking up something like a box off the floor and putting it on a shelf. So that's
Or
how
picking
I
up a
like.
grandchild.
Right.
Right. So getting yourself off the floor, right?
Mm.
Or getting yourself up out of the chair, sit to stand, very functional exercise.
Oh, so that's the kind of training you mean when you say you're
Yes.
training?
Yes.
Okay, I'm thinking like you're like weightlifting, heavy weights, but you're working with a
Sometimes.
little bit of both,
What do you mean a little bit of both? Like
like
machine.
weights and or functional movement.
So functional movement when I'm training is primarily without machines.
Okay.
So it's use of dumbbells. It might be use of bands. It might be movement patterns. It might be body weight training. But strength training in general is a combination of dumbbells and machines and bands and all of that. I do both. Where I work is primarily the client's home. So if they have machines, great, but it's primarily without machines.
Hmm. So you can get a good exercise without a machine?
You sure can.
There you go.
You
No
sure
excuses.
can.
What
Nobody.
if somebody came to you and said, I have this pain and I have this problem and this issue, can they still work out?
Absolutely. I have that all the time. And those clients are some of my favorite because it's a challenge for me to, you might have a pain. I have a gentleman who turns 80 in August, and he came to me and his doctor referred him to me,
Oh, wow.
and he came to me with hip pain and back pain. And so I'm able to, the corrective exercise piece is releasing the tension in the muscles. So if somebody's hurting, but it's a general hurt, okay? They didn't have an acute injury or they didn't just have a surgery. It's general, like low back pain or hip pain, and they don't know why. They can help some of that by releasing the muscles with self-myofascial release techniques. And what that is foam rollers and tennis balls and Theraguns and relieving the connective tissue around the muscle, lengthening it, and then strengthening it. So this gentleman that came to me had a lot of hip and back pain, and we did all of that and strengthened it, but it turned out he was probably in that situation because he had a boot on his foot for about 2 months. So it's a chain reaction from the knee to the hip. So I have worked with broken fingers. I've worked with hip replacements, knee replacements, frozen
Mm.
shoulder, tendonitis, bursitis. And if they can't exercise that particular area, first of all, I always wait for a medical diagnosis. And then I work with clients either post physical therapy or sometimes during their physical therapy. We add in those exercises.
So you like, is it, I'm not going to say required, but like, is it important to release the muscle around something so that you can build the strength up in it?
So absolutely, because sometimes we don't know if a client comes to me and then they have pain, like let's take for example low back pain, which about 90% of us will have in our lifetime.
Oh my God, that's
And
so
if
sad.
it's generalized back pain, in other words, you didn't slip a disc or you didn't fall or you didn't do something that you know caused an acute injury,
Right.
a lot of times it's because we sit all day or we don't fire up our glutes. Our glutes are weak or our core is weak and we need to release the hip muscles, strengthen the core, strengthen the glute muscles.
Wow. Okay, what about if your hip hurts?
Well, I guess it would depend on why it hit.
That's the thing. What if you don't know?
If you don't know it, so if somebody comes to me and we're working out and it's, it's kind of been bothering them, they're not ready to go to the doctor, we can try some release techniques. We can try because sometimes when you have pain, it's both the need for stretching, releasing, and strengthening. Okay. So
Oh.
sometimes if I'm working with a client and we do all of that and that still doesn't work, they need to go in and have it checked out by their doctor first.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I really like this stretching, releasing, and strengthening.
Can you release at home without anything?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
My notepad. How do we?
Yes.
What's your number one way to release the muscle? Is that what I'm saying? Am I saying it right?
Well, so you have correct.
Okay.
Self myofascial release is kind of you are doing it with tools like foam rollers and tennis balls. So one thing that I love to start with is feet. Feet, foundation of our body. So if you
Okay.
take it depends on you. So if you have something like tingling in your feet or neuropathy, I would say, don't do it while you have that weight. But if you have a tennis ball, you can roll your feet with a tennis ball. And some of it might feel good to release the tension on the bottom of your feet. If that doesn't work, the next density would be a golf ball. But I always start with something a little bit softer first. You want to start with something softer first and see how you react to it. And you could just try rolling your feet seated for about 30 seconds on each side.
Really? Okay. I'm gonna have to do that.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
happy to show you both.
Can you do that with your back also?
You
Yeah.
can do it with your back, yes. And for clients that, let's say, cannot get down onto the floor, it's
Mhm.
ideal to get down onto the floor, but you can take a tennis ball and use your body against the wall and roll
Oh.
that tennis ball. So there's a couple of things you want to make sure you do when you do it. One is that you're not on bone.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you're doing maybe your upper traps that tend to get tight, okay, you want to make sure you're not on your spine or on the shoulder blade. You want to be on
Okay.
muscle and it shouldn't shoot, tingle, or burn. So
Okay.
when you're and
Shoot, tingle, or burn.
right,
Okay.
but it's a process and it's definitely best to have somebody show you.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's usually where I start clients because we hold a lot of tension. We have a lot of tightness with sitting. Our shoulders,
Yeah.
rotate forward. Our hips are flexed all the time, which means the joints are coming together. So we're in a seated position and things get tight and need to be released.
Do you think that the problems that people are coming to you with have changed, or are they all kind of similar from
Oh,
this
you mean
time?
like habits?
Like if we're sitting more, then is that causing more neck and trap issues, or are
Absolutely.
like
As
are
well as being on our head down.
Mhm.
So on phones, on tablets, things like that. Yes.
Yeah.
It
Ugh,
literally from the feet all the way up and it causes, you know, you have rounded shoulders, so
I
your
know.
shoulders are tight, but your back is also weak. So
Ah,
those are the things that we need to release and strengthen.
this is fascinating.
Okay, so all right. I know I'm switching gears here. When you say strengthen, does this mean I'm gonna be dripping sweat and being like, you know what I'm saying? Or do you mean like exercises that I do repetitively that are building strength, but I'm not necessarily like gonna need to take a shower afterwards?
You can do either way. So you can do strength training in a circuit fashion where you are raising and elevating the heart rate. So you're getting a
Okay.
little bit of cardio and strength.
Okay.
Or you can separate them out and do a strength training program. You're still going to get warm and you're still going to elevate the heart rate. But sweating is all dependent on you.
Okay, so is there one better than the other?
They both serve their own purpose,
Okay.
and I like a little bit of both. So you can do,
Okay.
if you are short on time, you might want a full body workout and then get your cardio and strength in one session.
Okay.
If you like to separate them out, you can do cardio separately, and then you can do your strength training a few days a week.
Okay.
Just, it really depends on what your goals are and your likes. But hopefully we'll talk about why we need to do it, which
Okay.
change your mind a little bit about some, cardiovascular and or strength training exercises.
Okay, let's get into that. So we know that there are health benefits, right? And you're going to tell us a little bit more about that. But even knowing that, how do you get some people interested in working out?
Yeah.
That's the hard part. And I think as you as a health coach and, you're a weight loss.
Wellness. Yeah.
Okay,
Weight
so
coach.
we have to meet people where they are in their
Mhm.
stage of change. And I have clients that they don't work out unless they have a session with me.
Okay.
That's okay. Do I want them to do more? Yes. But I have to take what they are, if they're not going to do any more, then they do their best when they're with me. And I have other clients that I can meet with once a week, and then I give them a plan and they go and do, and we tweak. So there are people that just don't like to exercise. I'm very appreciative of this opportunity because I want more people to understand that it's more than just exercise. It's movement of your body with regard to strength training and cardiovascular work. And it at middle age is more about your longevity. It's more
Oh,
about
okay.
getting yourself up off the floor after playing with the grandkids or the kids, whatever the case may be, running up the stairs at the baseball stadium and not being completely winded when you get to the top,
Mhm.
getting out of your chair, getting out of the bathtub, taking a trip with your older kids and being able to keep up
Mhm.
and maintaining your independence. And that is really my message because it
Yeah.
starts now. If we're middle aged, we're already losing muscle. You start losing that in your 30s as well as bone. So for women, it's a very strong message because once our hormones start changing and we head into menopause with that loss of estrogen is very protective for us.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And heart disease automatically increase in your risk for heart disease. Still the number one killer, okay, of women, heart disease. You're at risk for osteopenia, or sarcopenia, which is loss of muscle,
Mhm.
osteoporosis, which is loss of bone. And again, you lose that starting in your 30s. And then increase, unfortunately, of visceral fat. So we all know the subcutaneous or the fat that we can pinch, very frustrating, and we all want to lose it, but it's the visceral fat that surrounds our organs that we really need to be concerned with. That's an increased risk of heart disease from that and type 2 diabetes. So those are the things we really
Yeah.
want to keep in mind. It's really not a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
really a requirement. And especially in this country, I feel that we're not preventative enough
Mhm.
Mhm.
to be more
I'm in
preventative.
agreement with that.
Oh, 100% I agree with it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And it's like, I think the majority of people know it too. Like we know it. And we're not, we just, I guess it's like, how do you make that leap to doing it then?
So what is it
Mm.
about exercise that you don't like? Or what don't
Well,
you like? All of it?
I haven't found anything that I actually like, but I also don't, I feel like the time that I do have to do it, I just want to sit and unwind.
Okay. If you were to, let's say, how much time would you have during the day or during the week?
15 minutes. And that's pushing it.
Per day?
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
this so
So
much.
I will tell you.
I know I can, but it's like, again, like I don't want to. You know what I mean? I'd rather
So
do a load of laundry or clean my toilets.
Oh
correct,
boy.
but you
I
can't
would.
pour, you
Yeah.
can't pour from an empty cup either.
Right.
So
That's very
we
good.
think, oh, it's a drag. I don't want to do it. I'm going to be more tired. But in actuality, it's going to give you energy to
Mhm.
do all the things you need to do. You can do
Right.
it in a way that gives you energy. 15, 20 minutes is totally doable. And I like that because, there are days that I don't want to do a complete full workout for an hour or even 45 minutes. And sometimes I just do 20 minutes and it's kind of like an exercise snack,
Yeah.
call it, but it surprisingly gives me more energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's my job to help clients find a way to do it, whether that is finding a social outlet for it. So if you don't have time for a class, maybe you have time for a quick walk with a friend, something that is a social connection where you create accountability, which I'm sure you already know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And something that, or, I don't like to say, videos or YouTube because I want you to have the foundation of safety first and understanding what you need to do.
Wait,
Sure.
wait, I know I'm confused on that because that's what I would, that's my preference is to just put up, like, search 12-minute video on YouTube.
And that's fine.
Oh, okay.
As long as you understand whatever you're doing in that video, you have proper form. And we want to get in for strength training all of our muscle groups about twice a week. So if you
Okay.
only have 15 minutes of, let's say 15 to 20 minutes of strength training, maybe twice a week, you want to get in some bigger muscle groups because that's multi-joint and more muscle groups that you're getting in a shorter period of time. You're covering the bases if you have a shorter
Okay.
period of time.
So just to persist, this is not about Leah, but what if you have a client who's like, I hate exercise. I never exercise. I'm healthy as a horse and I have no issues. How do you convince somebody like that that it's so critical for their health?
Well, if they have had a physical and they know their numbers, one thing I totally recommend is have a baseline physical. Understand what your numbers are. And if you have health issues or your blood work comes back and you need to work on your cholesterol or you need to work on your nutrients, whatever the case may be, heart health, so it's hard. I do have some people that just don't like it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I obviously there are days where I'm just like, I just got to get through it. I'm not in the mood. It's exhausting. I'm sweaty and gross. And then it's
But
done.
so the one of the things that helps is I know that for somebody that doesn't like exercise, okay, that if I start with them releasing some of those tight muscles, just getting their blood flowing for a short period of time, A will give them energy,
Mm-hmm.
and B is going to maybe help their sleep. So it's going to help short term. It's going to have a short term, health effect,
Yeah.
immediate. It's going to have an
That's
immediate benefit to it.
that's it. We don't see immediate results, and it's like, why am I doing this?
But you have to ask yourself, why are you exercising? I think and I'm just going to speak for myself and other women that I know, we beat ourselves up too much. We exercise or I ate too much. I have to burn these calories. It's not good for us to do that. We need to do it because it helps our body, period.
Longevity.
Sure.
That's what you
Longevity.
said. We need to do it
So
for
your
longevity.
fitness is closely linked to your longevity, and lack of fitness is closely related to disease.
I'm writing that down. Okay, so
So
all right. Sorry.
I think we're going in the same direction.
Maybe, I don't know. So let's say, like, there are days when I get 18,000 steps a day. That's totally different than exercise, though.
That is exercise. It's movement. It's movement. There are different goals and there are different levels, okay? Walking is fantastic. Walking is fantastic. I love it because A, your body is upright. So we sit a lot of us all day. Body is upright. You're getting extension through those hips. So you're opening up the hips. You're getting some glute work.
Okay, I feel
You're
good.
getting a little bit of cardiovascular work. Hopefully you're reducing some of those cortisol levels. You're
Okay.
burning some fat. So it's multifaceted in the benefits. It's also helping you to reduce high blood pressure, high cholesterol. So there's many health benefits to
Right.
walking, especially outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Outside. And we have the beautiful metro parks here, and I'm sorry they're not calling to you because
I know. Why aren't they? They used to.
yeah,
That's the
that's
other
okay.
thing. Well,
Yeah.
okay, so I mean, I guess if anything, I'd rather walk outside than on a treadmill for
Okay.
sure. You know what I mean? But I just was wondering, like, because I also know that some people, I'm included in this, but I also know the other part of it is like, I walk all day at work or I'm on my feet all day at work. Is there a difference?
I think if you're in terms of cardiovascular exercise, yes, because you can break it up, but you would want to keep in general your cardiovascular exercise consistent throughout the time that you're doing it. So
Yeah.
again, we might be doing a different level of cardiovascular exercise with our pace outside, and that's going to be a fitness benefit. But walking and movement itself is still a benefit, and it's still steps. So
And you know what else? You could yell at me, and not yell at me, but you could say, you also stated that it's important to do strength training twice a week. And even though my steps are high and I'm on my feet and running around like crazy all day, like I don't do any strength training. So
yeah,
that's a whole other level in there. So it's like you're saying it's great to move and do your cardio and stuff, but we also need to have 2 times a week at least of strength training.
at least two, and I don't want to say you can do 2 to 4, but for somebody who doesn't like it,
Mhm.
let's start with maybe two small sessions a week. And again, being a woman, we don't get our bone scan or a DEXA scan, I think it's called in this country, until you're 65. Okay.
Really?
Or you have a family history where they're going to,
Is that a different than bone density?
it's the same. It
Oh,
also
okay.
does body composition,
Okay.
but for bone itself, you're not going to get it until you're 65. You can get it, there are companies locally that you have to pay for, but they'll do it. But by then you're already in
Hey.
osteoporosis, osteopenia. So that taking care of your bones now, strength training is key for that, as well as your metabolism.
They need to fix that because, like, for this is a weird analogy, but like they do blood work on me to see if I'm pre-diabetic so that I don't get diabetic. Like, they need to do that on me to see if I'm pre-osteopenia or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, why
I
aren't they
agree.
doing
It
that?
does help osteopenia, which is the prelude to osteoporosis for bone
Yeah,
loss.
like maybe
So
I
yes.
maybe I'd be like, oh God, I gotta start exercise, like doing strength. You know what I mean? Come, have you had one done?
I have had one done, but I think I have a pre-existing condition, so I
Yes,
get
they'll
scans.
cover it if you do.
Mhm.
And I asked my OBGYN about it last time I had a visit, and I was told no.
Oh,
Um,
so let me ask you, if let's just say you have a scan or a doctor indicates in some way by some test that you're starting to have issues, whether it's bone or blood pressure or fill in the blank.
Okay.
When you start doing fitness or strength training, can you reverse some of those things? Is that possible?
you don't lay down bone like you used to. You can help it with your nutrition, your calcium, your vitamin D levels, the impact. Okay, we have to be careful with impact, but impact walking outside helps because it's impact, but you kind of need a little bit more. That
Mhm.
helps with bone density. Strength training helps with bone density. What was the other thing you asked about reversing?
I was just putting things out there like blood pressure or
Oh,
cholesterol or I don't know, common things, blood sugar.
absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen people come off medications with
Oh,
healthy nutrition and exercise together.
right. So
Yeah.
do you help people with that piece too, or are you solely focused on the fitness with the nutrition also, or?
Do I help with nutrition? I don't separate it out as part of my work.
Oh,
I discuss during the sessions though. It's a key element. And I think we definitely discuss. We talk about protein levels. We talk about healthy fats. We talk about, when we reach middle age and things don't work so well for us anymore, the inflammatory foods. Okay, so processed foods, preservatives, all of that, can affect the gut and the gut changes in particularly menopause.
I want to ask you like on a little aside. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but what is your personal idea about protein? Do you
Uh-huh.
think that they're advocating too much or that we should be eating more?
When I was studying for my personal training years ago, the guidelines were zero point 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kilogram of your
Mhm.
weight. Now, and it could be from recent research because I'm still trying to find out, I see zero 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound.
Right.
And that seemed now zero 0.8 maybe, but 1 gram. So I've been finding, and I'm connected with some registered dietitians and some holistic functional med docs, and I am seeing kind of a sweeter spot of, in general, depending on your weight, maybe 90 to 100 grams of protein. That's kind of what I'm seeing. But I think for building muscle, and if you are looking to lose fat, I think, yes, you have to up your protein a little bit. But I
Okay.
also think, you can't absorb a whole lot in one sitting. So spread it out throughout the day. And it's challenging. Have you ever tracked your
Yeah.
protein?
Yeah.
It's so hard.
It's hard. You have to have a plan. And the reason I refer out a lot for,
Bingo. You nailed
I,
it. You have to have a plan.
you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
But if somebody is, their nutrition is their diet, and you get into a whole other world of things if they
Mhm.
are a type 2 diabetic. And so those are the things that I'm very careful about with my scope of practice. But I can certainly discuss protein, and it's hard to get it all in during the day if you're trying to get it in. And
Yeah.
So hard.
you feel, it does fill you up though. And
Yeah.
it does work.
I honestly feel better when I do all over. Like every part of me feels better. So I
Correct.
don't know why I don't do it because it's work. It's work. It's another job. It's like a full-time job.
You have to for a while until you really, you have to track it and calculate it until you're comfortable with looking at it and seeing, I know how much protein is in this. But it's not just about protein, it's about fiber, right? I know you know that. About 20 to 30 grams of fiber per day, healthy fats,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you still need your carbohydrates, your
Right.
complex carbohydrates. So it's work.
It is.
Work, but it's
It is worth it for sure. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about your work with Parkinson's patients and with other like health issues like that, because I think it's important for people to know that you still can do something.
Right.
absolutely. So right now, my work, I have one client that I train outside of. I do some independent contracting at In Motion. It's a wonderful organization, and it's a very, very rewarding place to work. So exercise specifically helps their symptoms. It can help with their motor skills, it can help with their movement. And besides medication that they are prescribed, it's the pretty much the only other thing. So In Motion has a number of exercise classes, but they also have music and brain classes and vocal classes. And because Parkinson's affects many different things, many things that we don't see. It affects the gut, it affects their movement, it affects their brain and their cognition. So exercise is one thing that really helps them.
And it helps not everything obviously, but it helps more than just the body.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely can help the brain as well.
Yeah,
If
that's
that's what you're asking.
yeah, that's what I meant.
It's a lack
Wow.
of dopamine for them, and the exercise helps.
I think that's fascinating because, I think when a person gets this kind of diagnosis, and I'm not in the shoes, so I'm maybe speaking out of turn, but if I'm putting myself in those shoes, I would think, oh no, now I can't do anything. But you're saying that there's actually hope for diminishing or delaying symptoms. I think that's really encouraging.
Some of the symptoms, yes. I mean, it is a degenerative disease.
Right.
And so, that is a hard thing. But they are there. They are so dedicated. The classes are full. They are there because they know it helps them.
Okay.
Wow.
Helps them, helps with their pain sometimes. And every person presents differently. And sometimes they have other diseases as well. So it's very
It's
challenging.
probably a lot also to do with it's all Parkinson's patients mainly there.
It's only, yes, they have
And
to have
that's
a
part of it too.
diagnosis in order
Don't
to
you
go
think?
there.
Like just going to a class where you know everybody knows exactly what you're going through has
Mm.
gotta be so comforting.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm just this is so silly, but, like, if you have a broken foot, like, I would like to go to an exercise class with all people with a broken foot.
Mhm.
Because 1, you can commiserate together, and 2, you can, like, don't feel stupid that you're limping versus other people, like, I feel like that's a great thing, and that's what you do too, like, you saying, "I will come to your house and do it for help you with it," it
Mhm.
takes away that, "Oh my god, they're gonna stare at me because I have this bad hip and I don't know what I'm doing," like, I feel like
Right.
that's so important.
And that's a big thing, in motion, they help each other as well.
Yeah,
But you are correct. It has to be something, I have clients that don't want to go to a regular gym and they want to work out at home, and that's okay.
yeah,
That's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's me. I don't wanna work out at a gym anymore. I've gotten yelled at a couple of times. I'd rather do it at home.
It's
It's where you're going to do it. And sometimes, you have things to do, right? So if you can do a 20-minute workout in your home and you don't need much
right.
room at
Mhm.
all, you don't need much equipment. To start. Eventually, you want to progress if you're doing some
Mm,
strength training for sure. You definitely want
Right.
to progress, but you don't need a lot of room. And if you find something that you'll stick with, that's the thing is the consistency. Is you want to make it a habit. You want to make it a lifelong
Right.
thing.
Yeah. That's the key, the consistency and the habit. Like, I get in modes where I'm like, I'll do it for like 30 days straight, and then I'm like, "Eh."
And that's okay as long
Yeah.
as you get back on track.
Yeah.
Long term. So, it is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and everybody falls off the track a little bit here and there, but it's just getting back on
Yeah.
and keep going.
You answered all of our
Oh,
questions and even
good.
made me understand things in a
Well, thank
different
you for
way.
having me. It was my pleasure,
Yes.
and I'd love to talk to you both again if you have any.
I would love to. I would love
Yeah,
for you to even, like, yeah, teach us some things.
collaborate, but also
Yeah,
collaboration.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
oh, yeah, we should do that. Awesome. For sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.